The
The
bell above the glass
documentation on
door
these
chimed
waxes
softly as
seems
Maya reached
incomplete.
straight into the row of hand-poured
I assure
candles.
you,
The
all our
citrus and
products
cedar
meet
scent
safety
floating through the
standards.
warm boutique. Her fingers were steady, but her chest wasn't. The street outside hummed with Saturday foot traffic, voices, engines, and then the abrupt snap of a police radio. Officer Brent Haldane pushed the door open with 2 fingers, like he didn't want to touch it. His boot scraped across the hardwood floor as he glanced around with a smirk. "Cute place," he muttered loudly, just enough for the customers to hear. "Did you make all this in your basement?" Maya's smile froze. She could feel the eyes of the 3 shoppers shifting, some apologetic, some uncomfortable, none willing to intervene. Her throat tightened, but she kept her voice even. "Is there a problem, officer?" Haldane stepped closer, tapping a jar with the back of his knuckle. Heard a complaint. Suspicious activity. Someone said the shop couldn't really be legit. His gaze traveled slowly from the displays to her skin, to her hair, back to her face. "You know how it is." Something inside her dropped, cold and sharp. "That's all you think this is," she whispered. He chuckled. "Relax. I'm sure you're doing your best. Running, whatever this is." A customer quietly put their items down and slipped out. Maya exhaled through her nose, heart pounding. "Officer Haldane, I own this store." He shrugged. "Right. Until the city shuts it down." A sudden vibration buzzed against Maya's palm, her phone lighting up with a message that made the blood drain from her face. A message that could change everything. She looked up. Haldane was still smiling, and the door was closing behind their only witness. The morning sun cast a soft gold across the shelves of Reed Aromatics as Maya arranged a display of new candles. The shop smelled warm, vanilla, bergamot, sandalwood, her favorite blend. She was mid-reach when the door chimed. Officer Brent Haldane stepped inside with a lazy grin. "Morning. Busy day for whatever this is." Maya kept her posture steady. "Good morning, officer. Can I help you with something?" He glanced around dismissively. "Got a call. Suspicious activity. Thought I'd check out the operation." "Operation?" Maya repeated. "Yeah." He leaned on the counter. "You run this place alone? Inventory looks a little advanced for a shop this small." Maya blinked slowly. "Is there a specific issue?" Haldane tapped the jar with 2 fingers. "Funny thing is, when I told the caller the owner was a woman, they weren't surprised." His smile thinned, said it explained the ambition. Maya felt heat rise in her throat. "Officer, this is a legitimate business." "Relax," he laughed. "I'm just making conversation." Leah emerged from the back. "Is there a problem here?" Haldane ignored her. "Mind if I take a look around?" "Yes," Maya said firmly, "unless you have cause." He shrugged and started wondering anyway. Customers watched uneasily. Maya's phone buzzed. She glanced down. "Urgent. Need your approval for London flagship launch today." Her pulse spiked. Haldane noticed her reaction. "Everything okay? Or is there something you don't want me to see?" She stepped back, swallowing hard. "Please finish whatever you came for." He smirked. "Sure. I'll just file a preliminary note. Might need to come back with some paperwork." Leah's eyes widened. "Paperwork for what?" "For making sure this place meets standards." He paused at the door. Wouldn't want an unqualified owner running a store like this. The bell chimed again as he left. Maya's hands trembled. London flagship launch. Officer threats. Customers whispering. Everything felt like it was slipping sideways. And Haldane had promised to return. Officer Haldane's report hit the department system before noon. He typed quickly, leaning back in his chair with a self-satisfied smirk. "Owner appeared evasive," he murmured as he wrote. "Store activity inconsistent with claim business type. Possible code violations. Recommend continued monitoring." His partner, Ortiz, glanced over. "That shop looked pretty normal to me." Haldane didn't look up. "Small places like that cut corners. Trust me." Ortiz hesitated. "You sure this isn't one of those situations?" Haldane finally met his eyes. "A situation where I'm doing my job." Ortiz lifted his hands. "Hey, just asking." The supervisor, Sergeant Langley walked past their desks. How den, you filing something? Neutral enforcement, Hal Den said. Just keeping the area clean. Langley nodded, barely reading the screen. Fine. Submit it. And that was that. Back at the boutique, Maya sat behind the counter, forehead resting against her clasped hands. Leah closed the blinds. He filed something, didn't he? I know he did. Maya's phone buzzed again with another international notification, this time from Japan. She ignored it, staring at the checkout screen as if it could anchor her. He said he might return with paperwork, Maya whispered. Leah exhaled sharply. Because he wants to intimidate you. This is harassment. I don't want trouble with police, Maya said. Not when. She stopped. Leah folded her arms. Not when what? Maya reluctantly showed her the earlier message. London flagship launch. They need my approval today. Leah's eyes widened. You didn't tell me they were launching the London branch already. It moved up, Maya said. And now I'm stuck dealing with this. Leah paced behind the counter. Okay, you cannot let him destroy this. You built this brand from scratch. Which is exactly why I can't risk bad press, Maya cut in. If I go public about this, people will say I'm playing the race card. Investors get nervous. Journalists twist things. Leah slowed. Maya, he's targeting your livelihood. Maya whispered, if this escalates, I could lose everything. Every international partnership. Every store. Leah put a hand on her shoulder. You're not alone. A customer knocked gently on the closed door. Are you still open? Maya straightened herself. Yes. Come in. The bell chimed as a woman stepped inside, glancing around nervously. I saw the officer earlier. Everything okay? Maya forced a smile. Just a misunderstanding. How can I help you? Leah watched from behind the counter, eyes flicking nervously toward the window, checking for police cars. Late afternoon sunlight slanted through the front glass when Maya finally locked the door. Her inbox was overflowing. France, need your approval. Deadline approaching. Dubai, are you available for video conference? Japan, please respond. Maya buried her face in her hands. Leah touched her arm softly. He's not done. Maya looked up. How do you know? Leah nodded toward the handwritten note taped to the door, something they hadn't noticed earlier. Property subject to compliance review. Possible temporary closure pending investigation. Maya's stomach dropped. He left that. Nobody else would dare. Leah swallowed. Maya, next time he won't come alone. Maya pressed her trembling fingers against her forehead. How do I fight this without ruining the business? Leah answered quietly, by not letting him decide who you get to be. Maya exhaled shakily. The street outside dimmed into early evening. A police cruiser rolled slowly past the shop, not stopping, just watching. Maya closed the blinds with shaking hands. For the first time since opening the store 3 years ago, she felt genuinely unsafe in her own space. Officer Halden returned 2 days later, this time with backup. The bell over the door jolted Maya upright as 2 uniformed officers stepped inside ahead of him. Their expressions were neutral, procedural. Halden's wasn't. Morning again, he said brightly. Compliance check. Maya steadied her voice. You didn't notify me of any scheduled inspection. Don't need to, he replied. Someone filed another complaint. He glanced around the store dramatically. And if people in the neighborhood are worried, we have to act. Leah stepped closer to Maya. What people? Halden smirked. Anonymous callers. Happens all the time in businesses with unclear operations. Maya felt heat prick the back of her neck. This is harassment. Big word, Halden said. Let's just take a look around. He motioned to the other officers, who began opening drawers, checking labels, photographing shelves. Customers froze mid-brows. A mother gently ushered her child toward the door. A couple exchanged nervous glances. A young man put down the items he had planned to buy. Halden chuckled. Slow day, huh? Maya clenched her jaw. Please stop speaking to my customers. Just making conversation, He said again, the same line he always used. The second officer approached Halden. Everything looks fine so far. Halden clicked his tongue. Maybe, but we'll keep checking. Leah leaned toward Maya, whispering, I'm recording this. Maya whispered back, be careful. Leah angled her phone discreetly, capturing everything. Halden drifted to a display of hand creams. He lifted one. Imported ingredients? You have documentation for that. Yes, Maya replied flatly. He didn't look at her. We'll see. He walked deeper into the boutique, opening the star-trimmed door without asking. Hey! Leah stepped forward. You can't. It's part of the inspection, Halden said casually. Unless you have something to hide. Maya forced herself to stay composed. You are exceeding your authority. Halden turned, eyebrows raised in mock surprise. Is that so? For a moment, silence. Then the officers finished their sweep. No violations, one said to Halden. He frowned. Really? Yes, sir. Everything's in order. Halden took a long breath through his nose, annoyed. Fine, but this is ongoing. We'll be back if more complaints come in. He addressed Maya directly, and they usually do. He tipped his head, smirked, and left. The other officers followed, looking uncomfortable. When the door shut, Leah lowered her phone. Got everything, she whispered. Maya didn't speak. She walked to the counter and gripped its edge until her knuckles whitened. Customers who had stayed finally exhaled. One woman approached gently. I'm sorry you have to deal with that. Maya nodded but couldn't find her voice. After the last customer left, Leah locked the door and closed the blinds. You need to call someone. A lawyer, a council member, anyone. Maya shook her head. If I make noise now, it could damage the brand. Investors hate controversy. International partners get skittish. Leah stared at her. You're scared? Yes, Maya whispered. Her phone buzzed again, this time a video call from France. Global HQ, urgent meeting. 15 minutes. She stared at the screen. Leah said quietly, Maya, go take the call. I'll reset the store. Maya hesitated. Leah, this can ruin us. Leah softened. He wants you afraid. Don't give him what he wants. Maya nodded slowly and went to the back room. She joined the video call. Faces from 3 continents appeared instantly. France, Japan, the UAE. The director spoke first. Maya, your approval is needed today. If we don't finalize the London flagship launch, the timeline collapses. Maya pressed a hand over her mouth, overwhelmed. Is everything all right? Another colleague asked. You look distressed. She tried to answer, but tears welled up unexpectedly. I'm fine, she whispered. Just a situation at a local store. She muted herself and lowered her head, breathing through the panic. When she returned to the front of the shop, Leah was watching through the blinds. Maya, Leah pointed. Across the street, Officer Halden leaned against his cruiser. Just watching. Taking notes. Waiting. Maya's blood ran cold. He wasn't finished. Not even close. The next morning, Maya arrived early, hoping for one quiet hour before the storm. She unlocked the door, stepped inside, then froze. Yellow safety review tape stretched across her front counter and shelves. A bright orange notice was pinned to the doorframe. Temporary closure order, pending investigation. Her breath caught. No, 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 no. Leah rushed up behind her, stopping mid-step. He didn't. He did, Maya whispered. The street was barely awake, but a few early walkers slowed, staring at the notice. Their whispers pricked Maya's skin like needles. Leah ripped the tape off angrily. He cannot shut you down without evidence. Maya scanned the notice, half the language vague, the other half fabricated. He cited potential safety concerns. What concerns? Nothing was wrong yesterday. Leah crossed her arms. This is targeted, plain and simple. A man walking his dog paused. Miss Reed? Everything okay? Maya inhaled shakily. Just a misunderstanding. He frowned. Officer was here late last night. Looked like he was posting something. Maya's stomach dropped. Late last night? Yeah, around 9. Didn't look friendly. Leah clenched her fists, so he waited until no one was around. Maya pushed open the door, stepping inside. The shop felt violated, altered. Everything was where she left it, but it felt wrong, like the air itself had been rearranged. She sat behind the counter and placed her head in her hands. I can't open today. This will ruin us. Leah kneeled beside her. We will fight this. With what? Maya whispered. A video clip and suspicion. He has the badge, the power, the department backing him. Leah's voice softened. But you have the truth. Maya didn't look up. Truth doesn't protect black women from people like him. Leah swallowed hard. Before she could respond, Maya's phone rang sharply. Global team, urgent. Maya answered, trying to sound composed. Hello. Where are you? Asked the PR director. Media outlets are calling. Investors want confirmation for the London launch. We need you in New York today for the press briefing. Today? Maya nearly choked. I can't. My store. This launch affects every market. Europe, Asia, the Middle East. You must be here. Leah mouthed. Go. Maya hesitated. I'm dealing with a situation. Her director replied firmly. Maya, your brand is reaching a pivotal moment. You've built something extraordinary. Don't let anything local derail this. Local. The word stung. She ended the call and stared at the silent shop. Bright jars reflected the morning light. Shelves she hand-built 3 years ago stood like quiet witnesses. Maya, Leah said softly, you don't have to stay and watch him destroy your dream. He already started, Maya whispered. But he hasn't finished, Leah replied. And you still have a choice. Another passerby stopped outside, reading the closure notice with pity. Maya's chest tightened with humiliation. I can't leave the store like this, she said. Leah stood, voice steady. You won't be leaving. You'll be fighting on a bigger stage. Maya rose slowly. New York wants me for a press event. They need approval for the London flagship. Leah's eyes widened. Maya, this is huge. I know. So go. And come back to what? Maya asked, gesturing around her. A closed store? A smear campaign? Another complaint? Leah took her arm. When you come back, we'll be ready. We'll have a plan. And he won't be expecting you to fight. Maya exhaled shakily and looked around the boutique one last time. I never wanted a battle. But one found you, Leah said. So win it. Maya nodded faintly. Outside, the sun rose higher, brightening the closed sign taped across her door. She locked the shop and stepped back onto the street. And as she turned toward her car, a police cruiser rounded the corner. Hal Dennin sighed, smiling when he saw the tape. Maya gripped her keys, heart pounding. This wasn't just harassment anymore. It was war. The New York headquarters of Reed Aromatics stretched across 2 entire floors of glass and steel. Maya stepped out of the elevator, coat still damp from the rain, trying to steady her breath. Assistants greeted her with warm smiles, but she barely absorbed them. Her PR director, Naomi Clark, approached immediately. You're late. Are you okay? Maya forced a nod. Just trouble at the hometown store. Naomi's brow furrowed. Trouble? What kind? Maya hesitated. Police harassment. Naomi stopped walking. Maya, that's serious. You should have called us. I didn't want to distract from the launch. Naomi sighed. You are the brand. Whatever happens to you affects everything. Remember that. They walked into the briefing room where the global leadership team waited. Executives from London, Paris, Dubai, and Tokyo on screens along the walls. The CEO, Daniel Corbett, smiled warmly. Ah, Maya, the visionary herself. Maya tried to smile back, but it felt thin. Daniel gestured toward the long table. Sit. We have a lot to finalize. Charts lit up on screens. Product lines, market projections, launch events, influencer partnerships. Everyone spoke with excitement, but Maya only half heard them. Her mind kept replaying the sound of yellow tape tearing. Halden's smirk, the look of pity from strangers passing by her shop. Daniel noticed her distraction. Maya, everything okay? She swallowed. Yes. Continue. The London director adjusted his headset. The flagship is ready. We only need your official approval to announce the launch. Maya nodded slowly. You have it. The room erupted in applause. Cameras flashed. A photographer snapped shots for press release materials. Daniel clapped her shoulder. You've built something remarkable. This brand is global now. You're global. The word should have lifted her. Instead, they made her chest ache. After the briefing, Maya stood alone in the panoramic hallway overlooking the city. Naomi approached, holding 2 cups of tea. You looked shaken during the meeting, Naomi said gently. Maya stared out at the skyline. Naomi, he shut down my store. Naomi froze. What? Officer Halden. He taped the place. Filed a closure order. False claims. Baseless complaints. Her voice wavered. He keeps coming back. Watching. Laughing. Naomi placed a hand on her arm. Maya, this is targeted discrimination. I know. So why haven't you spoken out? Maya's breath trembled. Because if I call out the racism, some people will say I'm overreacting. Others will call it a marketing stunt. Investors might panic. The brand could suffer. Naomi's expression softened. Maya, you've been dealing with bias your whole life. But this time, you don't have to suffer in silence. Maya covered her face briefly. I don't want to be the story. I want the brand to be the story. Naomi nodded. But you are the brand. Footsteps echoed down the hallway. Leah's voice came through the phone on speaker. Maya, I edited the footage. Maya straightened. Footage. Leah exhaled. The inspection. The taunts. The comments. The way he opened the stockroom without permission. Everything. Maya's heart thudded. You recorded that much. All of it. Leah said. You need to see it. Naomi crossed her arms. Let's play it. They went into a conference room. Leah sent the video. The moment Halden appeared on screen, laughing, dismissive, treating her store like a joke, Maya's throat tightened. Naomi muttered, This is undeniable. The video showed customers leaving in fear. Officers searching drawers. Halden implying Maya wasn't qualified. Then the final line. Complaints usually happen in businesses with unclear owners. Naomi slammed her hand on the table. That's it. We're responding. Maya's pulse raced. How? We draft a public statement, Naomi said. Not naming him. Not accusing. Just facts. We announce that your store was wrongfully closed. That your brand is committed to dignity and transparency. And we prepare for blowback. Maya hesitated. Naomi, once we go public. Naomi interrupted. Once we go public, the truth becomes bigger than one officer's bias. Maya looked at the pause video, Halden's smirk frozen on the screen. Something hardened inside her. Do it, she whispered. Naomi nodded. I'll call the team. As Naomi left the room, Maya sat alone, staring at the footage. This wasn't just about a store anymore. It was about her voice. And for the first time, she wasn't afraid to use it. Naomi moved fast. By midday, the communications team gathered inside a glass-walled room surrounded by screens, laptops, and an energy of urgency. Maya sat at the center, palms pressed to her knees, as draft of the public statement flashed on the screen. Naomi read aloud, tone crisp. Reed Aromatics confirms a temporary closure of its founding boutique due to an unjustified enforcement action. We remain committed to transparency, equity, and community trust. Our brand was built on integrity, and we will continue to uphold those values. No officer's name, no accusations, no inflammatory wording. Just truth. Maya nodded, voice quiet. Release it. Within minutes, the post went live across all platforms. And within an hour, everything changed. Maya's phone buzzed nonstop. Influencer, what happened? DM me. Journalist, requesting comment on the closure. Customer, this is unacceptable. How can we support you? Local activist group, we're looking into this. Can we talk? Naomi glanced at Maya's phone. It's gaining traction. She refreshed the screen. The post had thousands of likes, comments, shares. A trending hashtag was forming. #StandWithReed. Maya pressed her hand to her chest. I didn't expect this. You didn't expect people to care. Naomi said softly. I didn't expect people to believe me, Maya whispered. Meanwhile, miles away, Officer Halden leaned back at his desk, sipping coffee with the smug contentment of someone who thought he'd won. Ortiz approached him slowly. You see the department inbox. Halden shrugged. No. Why? There's a lot of messages coming in. Complaints. People asking about the closure you filed. Halden laughed. From who? Her online friends. Ortiz didn't smile. Some messages are from reporters. Halden rolled his eyes. Reporters will write about anything. Relax. But he opened the department email anyway. The first message read, We are requesting clarification regarding the closure of Reed Aromatics and the alleged misuse of authority. Halden frowned. Seriously. Ortiz lowered his voice. You sure you didn't push that one too far? Halden's jaw tightened. It was a routine safety check. Nothing wrong with that. But you close a store. For safety, Halden snapped. We're allowed to do that. Ortiz didn't reply. Halden slammed his laptop shut. Everyone's so sensitive these days. Back in New York, Maya and Naomi stepped into the hallway as more notifications rolled in. Naomi murmured, The local news outlet just reached out. They want an interview. I'm not ready, Maya admitted. You don't have to be. Just speak truth. Maya exhaled shakily. Naomi, he's not going to take this quietly. Good, Naomi said. Let him know he picked the wrong woman. Hours later, Maya boarded her flight home. As she settled into her seat, she checked her phone again. A local community page had posted the closure notice taped on her store window. Comments poured in. Why would they shut her down? Her store is spotless. This is harassment. Someone in power is abusing authority. #StandWithReed. Maya's throat tightened. People she'd never met were defending her. Not because she was a brand owner. Not because she was successful. But because what happened was wrong. At the precinct, Sergeant Langley approached Halden with a bored expression. We got a few calls. Something about the boutique you shut down. Halden shrugged. People complain about everything. Langley sighed. Just let it cool off. Don't go near the store again unless you're cold. Halden scoffed. She's making noise online, isn't she? Langley didn't answer. Halden smirked. Then she'll run out of steam. They always do. But he had no idea what was coming, because Maya wasn't alone anymore. Her story had momentum, public attention, voices rising on her behalf. And by the time Halden realized the tide was shifting, it would already be too late. Maya rested her head against the airplane window as the city lights dimmed below. Tomorrow she'd face a store. Tomorrow she'd face him. But this time, the world would be watching. By the time Maya's plane landed, her phone was already buzzing with messages from Leah. Leah, you need to get here fast. Leah, there's a crowd outside the shop. Leah, and media. Lots of media. Maya's heartbeat quickened. Media? She grabbed her luggage and hurried through the airport. When she reached her boutique street, the sight stunned her. Dozens of people lined the sidewalk. Some held signs. Some simply stood in solidarity. Reporters clustered near the entrance, cameras raised. Neighbors she barely knew were gathered with supportive looks. Leah stood at the center of it all, waving Maya over. Maya. Leah rushed forward. Look at this. People actually came. Maya swallowed hard. I didn't expect this. You spoke truth, Leah said. This is what truth does. Before Maya could respond, microphones thrust toward her. Ms. Reed, do you believe the closure was racially motivated? Do you fear retaliation from the police? Do you plan to take legal action? Why would the department shut down a black-owned business without evidence? Maya lifted her hands gently. I will answer questions soon, but first, I need to see my store. The crowd parted for her. The closure notice was still taped to the door. Her store, her work, her dream. She exhaled shakily, and then the sound of a cruiser pulling up made the air tighten. Officer Haldane stepped out. Laughter already curled at the corner of his mouth. Well, he said loudly, addressing the crowd as if he were on a stage, seems like your little hobby shop has quite the fan base. Cameras flashed. Reporters shifted closer. Haldane continued, Folks, let's calm down. This is simply a small compliance matter. Nothing serious. Certainly nothing requiring all this. He gestured dismissively at the supporters. Leah muttered under her breath, He's enjoying this. Maya forced herself to stay still. Haldane turned toward her. Ms. Reed, still causing trouble. Maya inhaled slowly. Officer Haldane, this is not trouble. This is accountability. Ooh, he teased. Big word again. Reporters murmured. One journalist stepped forward. Officer Haldane, were you aware that Ms. Reed's brand is an international company preparing for a major global expansion? Haldane blinked. What? He said sharply. Maya looked him directly in the eyes. Reed Aromatics has stores across 3 continents. The London flagship opens next month. A gasp rippled through the crowd. Haldane's smirk faltered. Maya continued, steady and calm. This boutique is our founding location. It is not a hobby shop. It is the birthplace of a global brand. Reporters snapped photos furiously. Leah whispered, Hit him with facts, Maya. A journalist asked Haldane, Officer, were you aware of the store's international significance before issuing the closure order? Haldane scoffed. Doesn't matter if she's selling to London or Mars. If a place has safety concerns. What concerns? Maya cut in. Haldane blinked again. What? You claimed you found safety issues. What were they? He opened his mouth, then closed it. Reporters leaned closer. Maya stepped forward. Your own officers said everything was compliant. You filed a closure order with fabricated language. Haldane stiffened. I acted according to procedure. A voice behind the reporters spoke sharply. No, you acted outside procedure. Sergeant Langley approached, face tight with contained irritation. Haldane turned. Sarge, I. Langley held up a hand. Enough. He faced Maya. Ms. Reed, the department has opened an internal review into the closure order and all associated conduct. Haldane's head snapped toward him. What? Why? Langley didn't look at him. Because we received evidence. Video evidence. Leah stepped forward, holding her phone. Haldane's face drained of color. The crowd murmured louder. Maya met his gaze. Not with anger, with clarity. You underestimated me, she said quietly. Haldane stepped back a little. This is a misunderstanding. Langley's voice darkened. Officer Haldane, I need you to return to the station. Now. Haldane sputtered. Sarge. Now. Haldane finally retreated toward his cruiser, cameras tracking every step. Maya exhaled for the first time in minutes, her shoulders trembling slightly. Leah squeezed her hand. You did it. No, Maya whispered, tears gathering in her eyes. We did. As Haldane's cruiser disappeared around the corner, supporters erupted into applause. But Maya didn't smile. She wasn't celebrating. Not yet. Justice wasn't done. But the tide had irrevocably turned. The hearing room inside the police administration building felt colder than Maya expected. Rows of chairs lined the walls, filled with community members, business owners, and a few neighbors who had watched her store grow from day one. Leah sat beside Maya, fingers intertwined with hers for support. At the front table sat Officer Haldane, uniform pressed, jaw locked, eyes darting. Across from him, 3 internal affairs officers prepared their notes. When the lead investigator spoke, the room fell silent. Officer Brent Haldane, this hearing concerns allegations of misconduct, misuse of authority, and discriminatory enforcement regarding the closure of Reed Aromatics. Haldane cleared his throat. With respect, I was acting within departmental guidelines. The investigator raised a brow. Then let's begin with your first visit to Ms. Reed's shop. Leah pressed play on her tablet. Haldon's recorded voice filled the room. Cute place. Did you make all this in your basement? Businesses with unclear owners. We'll see about that. The video played on, unbroken, every dismissive gesture, every unauthorized search captured clearly. Whispers spread through the room. Haldon stiffened. That footage is taken out of context. A second investigator asked, Did you or did you not enter the stockroom without consent? Haldon faltered. I believe there was probable cause. Based on what complaint? Haldon paused. Anonymous caller. The investigator leaned forward. We traced a number. Haldon's throat bobbed. It was unassigned, the officer continued, meaning the complaint was never verified. Maya's heart pounded. Leah whispered, They've got him. Another community member spoke from the audience. He did the same thing to my nephew's barbershop last year. Shut them down for a day over unsanitary equipment that didn't exist. One by one, testimony surfaced. Patterns emerged. A barber, a street vendor, a daycare owner, all black, all targeted by safety techs, all reported under Haldon's name. Haldon's voice rose defensively. This is exaggerated. These people are twisting my actions to fit a narrative. The lead investigator's face hardened. Officer Haldon, your reports show a concerning trend. The majority of your enforcement actions disproportionately target minority-owned businesses. Haldon opened his mouth, then closed it. The investigator continued. Your justification for closing Reed Aromatics was unsupported by any evidence and contradicted by your fellow officers. Haldon's supervisor, Sergeant Langley, stood from the back row. I allowed his report because I trusted his judgment. I see now that was a mistake. Haldon turned, shocked. Sarge! But Langley looked away. The lead investigator folded her hands. Officer Haldon, effective immediately, you are suspended pending full termination review. Gasps filled the room. Haldon lurched forward. You can't. This is political. She's turning this into a spectacle. Maya stood slowly. Her voice was steady. I didn't turn anything into a spectacle. You did at the moment you abused your power. Haldon stared at her, something in his expression fracturing. Fear? Rage? Or the realization that the badge no longer protected him? Security approached, but Haldon didn't resist. He sank into his chair, head bowed. The investigator addressed the room. Ms. Reed, thank you for coming forward. Your video and testimony were crucial. Maya nodded, but her heart felt heavy. This wasn't victory. This was consequence. As the hearing adjourned, Leah squeezed her shoulder. It's over. Maya exhaled shakily. It's not over, but it's justice. Reporters waited outside, but Maya slipped quietly through the side exit. She didn't need cameras now. She needed air. She needed stillness. And she needed to breathe in a world that, for once, had listened. The morning of a reopening felt unreal. Sunlight poured across the street in soft gold, reflecting off the newly polished windows of Reed Aromatics. Fresh flowers framed the entrance. The air already hummed with anticipation as Maya approached, keys shaking gently in her hand. A crowd had gathered, neighbors, loyal customers, reporters, small business owners, even strangers who'd followed her story online. Signs dotted the crowd. Stand with Reed, community over abuse. We see you, Maya. Leah hurried up, breathless. Are you ready? No, Maya admitted honestly. But I'm here. That's enough, Leah said softly. As Maya stepped up to the door, applause spread through the crowd like a warm wave. Camera shutters clicked. A few people wiped their eyes. Maya held the key above the lock for a long moment. This store survived. Someone called out. Maya swallowed hard, her voice trembling as she answered. We survived. She unlocked the door. The chime rang, soft, familiar, like a heartbeat returning after a long silence. Inside, the boutique felt like home again. Sunlight glowed across rows of candles, creams, and handcrafted decor. Everything was clean, calm, intact, as if refusing to bow to what had been done. Maya stepped to the front of the store to address the crowd. "Thank you all for being here," she began, her voice steadier than she expected. "This shop started as a weekend project in my tiny kitchen. It became a business because my community supported it. And today, it stands because you refuse to let intimidation silence us." The crowd murmured in agreement. Maya continued, "What happened to this store wasn't just a misunderstanding. It was abuse of authority. But instead of shrinking away, we fought back, together." Her gaze swept the faces, young, old, families, activists, business owners who knew her struggles intimately. "And justice," she said softly, "is not a celebration. It's a responsibility." A man in the front raised his hand. "How are you feeling, Maya?" The question surprised her. She inhaled slowly, grateful, exhausted, and changed. Leah stepped beside her. "Tell them what you told me yesterday." Maya hesitated, then spoke. "I didn't just fear losing the store. I feared losing my dignity. Because every time someone abuses power, they take something from you, your sense of safety, your joy, your confidence. And getting those pieces back takes time." The crowd quieted, the weight of her honesty sinking in. A young woman stepped forward. "I closed my bakery last year after the city kept randomly inspecting me. I didn't have the strength to fight." Maya's heart clenched. "You weren't wrong for walking away. But you're here now, and that matters." Another woman added, "You gave us courage. Seeing you speak out made me feel like maybe we do have a voice." Emotion tugged at Maya's throat. "This isn't just my victory," she said. "It's all of ours." Behind her, Naomi and the global PR team stood quietly, letting the moment belong to the community. Naomi stepped forward now. "We also have an announcement. In honor of Maya's resilience and leadership, Reed Aromatics will launch a scholarship fund for minority entrepreneurs." Gasps spread across the crowd. Maya turned to her, shocked. "Naomi, you didn't tell me." Naomi smiled. "Your story is bigger than a store. It's a seed that will grow opportunities for others who need doors opened." Applause erupted, loud, warm, genuine. Maya's chest tightened with emotion. She wiped a tear quietly before stepping back inside the shop. People started filing in, carefully, respectfully, admiring the products like they were stepping into something sacred. A child tugged her mother's sleeve. "Mommy, it smells like sunshine in here." Maya laughed softly. For the first time in weeks, her fear loosened its grip. Today wasn't revenge. Today wasn't triumph. Today was healing. And as she watched the store fill with life again, Maya felt it. The beginning of something new. Something stronger. Something hers. Two weeks after the reopening, the rhythm of life slowly returned. But nothing was the same. Every morning, Maya unlocked the boutique with renewed purpose. Customers came in steady streams. Tourists photographed the storefront. Journalists occasionally passed by, respecting her request for space. The air inside the shop felt different now, lighter, braver, anchored. Reed Aromatics wasn't just a business anymore. It had become a symbol. Leah arranged a fresh display of hand creams. "You realize," she said with a teasing smile, "you're kind of a local celebrity now." Maya chuckled softly, tightening a ribbon on a candle. "Celebrity? Hardly. I'm just someone who got tired of being quiet." "That," Leah said, "is exactly why people admire you." The bell chimed as a pair of college students entered. "Hi. We came from 2 towns over just to see the store," one said shyly. "Your story inspired us." Maya placed a hand over her heart. "Thank you. Truly." When they left, Maya stood by the window, watching the street she had walked since childhood. For the first time, she didn't feel small on it. She felt seen. Later that afternoon, Naomi stepped into the shop, holding a folder. "We finalized the scholarship paperwork." Maya took the folder, reading the title. "The Reed Initiative, a pathway for minority entrepreneurs." Her throat tightened. "It feels surreal." "Good things often do," Naomi said. This fund will help people launch businesses without fear of being pushed out. Maya nodded slowly. I want to mentor the recipients. I knew you'd say that, Naomi replied. News arrived the next morning. Officer Halden had been terminated. The email came quietly, with no fanfare, from the department's internal review board. Misconduct confirmed. Pattern of discriminatory enforcement documented. Employment revoked, effective immediately. Maya reread it 3 times. Not with joy, not with triumph, just a calm, deep exhale. Leah leaned over her shoulder. How do you feel? Maya set the phone down. Relieved, but not happy. Leah pulled up a stool. Because it doesn't undo what happened. Exactly, Maya whispered, but it prevents it from happening to someone else. That, at least, was enough. Days passed. The boutique became busier than ever. A journalist from London stopped by to gather photos for the flagship launch story. A Japanese businesswoman asked to stock Maya's products overseas. A father brought his daughter in to show her what courage looks like. Maya kept her smile soft, her presence grounded. But every night when she closed the shop, she felt the emotional cost of the fight, the anxiety that still lingered, the moments of doubt that still tugged at her. Healing wasn't linear, but it was happening. One quiet evening, long after the last customer left, Maya stepped outside with a broom to sweep the front walkway. The sky burned orange and pink, sunset stretching across the horizon. A familiar voice called out, "Beautiful night." Sergeant Langley approached slowly, hands tucked into his pockets. He looked older than she remembered. "Ms. Reed," he said carefully, "I wanted to apologize. I should have intervened sooner. I ignored signs I shouldn't have." Maya studied him. "Thank you for saying that." Langley nodded. "We're implementing new anti-bias training. More oversight. Body cam audits. It won't fix everything, but it's a start." She appreciated the honesty, even if the system still needed more than training. "I hope things change," Maya said quietly. "So do I," Langley replied before walking off. Maya watched him go, feeling the strange ache of closure. Not perfect, not absolute, but enough to breathe again. As daylight faded, she looked up at her storefront. Her name reflected faintly in the glass. Her brand, her fight, her story. She locked up and stepped back onto the sidewalk. A soft breeze lifted her curls. The smell of lavender and cedar drifted from the open vent. She whispered to herself, "We made it." Across continents, her products sat on shelves. Young entrepreneurs waited for scholarships she would help oversee. Customers carried pieces of her resilience in small, fragrant jars. And hey, on the street where it all began, Maya felt a profound truth. This wasn't the end. It was the beginning of something larger, a new chapter, one she would write on her own terms.